the final boss when you fight him. The final boss as a playable character. This is the opposite of Phainon, because he literally becomes a playable boss. Is he strong? Yes. Is he the hardest character to play? Yes. He's very weird and hard to understand because he's the only character in the game to have 6 different abilities and 2 different ults. But don't worry, you found the ADHD guide to Phainon that'll make him super easy to understand in the shortest time possible. If you're looking for a quick, bare minimum guide to get you amazing results, this is for you. But if you want to one cycle and optimize everything, I'd recommend another video. We'll be covering how to Phainon, how Good Phainon, how Team Phainon, how Build Phainon, and whether we'll Phainon. Okay, the first thing you need to understand is that Phainon's ultimate is nothing you've ever seen before. He takes out all your teammates and becomes the only member of your team. Yup, just Phainon. Okay, but how do we even become Big PP Phainon? His ult bar doesn't even use energy. Let's rewind. Phainon needs 12 core flames to charge his ult. He gets core flames in 4 ways. 1. Phainon uses his skill, does AoE smack, and gives 2 core flames. This means you always want to use his skill. Never use his normal attack unless you absolutely have to. 2. He gets smacked by enemy. 3. He gets smacked by ally skill. It can be a heal, it can be an action advance, it can even be a team-wide buff. It just needs to have this blue circle. If no blue circle targeting Phainon, no core flame. 4. Any ally ability that usually gives ult charge will now give him 1 core flame instead. As you might have figured out, action advancers are super pog because you can forward him and then use his skill to get 3 core flames immediately. He also starts with 1 core flame for free and gets 3 core flames for free after finishing his ult. So we got Phainon's ult as fast as possible. Now what? Press it to become Big PP Phainon. In Big PP Phainon mode, everything is irrelevant. Skill points are irrelevant. Yep, the bar is literally gone. Speed is irrelevant. Big PP Phainon has exactly 8 turns. You can see the exact number of turns left right here. You cannot make Big PP Phainon go any faster or slower. His turns are based on his base speed, but he will attack a lot. Death is irrelevant. Not only is Big PP Phainon thick AF, every attack heals him for 20%, and even if he somehow takes too much damage, he'll just end Big PP Phainon's stage early. Even his teammates are irrelevant. They literally don't exist. And any buffs they applied on him before he became Big PP Phainon will stay there the entire time. Also, Big PP Phainon has 3 new abilities. I like to think of them as melee, taunt, and mini ultimate. Melee will smack enemy and 2 nearby units. Taunt will force every enemy on the field to attack him. Then Phainon will counter smack enemy based on the number of times he was smacked. The more smack, the higher the damage. You can see the number of smacks here. And finally, mini ultimate does AoE damage. If less enemies, damage will be higher on the fewer targets, making him good in both multi and single target situations. But to do big PP damage, it needs 4 stacks. First time, melee gives 2 stacks. Taunt gives 1 stack for every enemy on the field, and using his technique and talents allow him to start Big PP Phainon mode with 6 stacks. Okay, but how do you choose which ability to use? If you have 4 stacks, use ultimate. If there's like 1 enemy, use melee. If you have many enemies, use taunt. At 3 enemies, you need to decide if melee or taunt is better. Note that taunt can be so good against certain enemies by forcing them to act and unlock their special mechanics, like the swarm who'll summon the little shits that you can explode for more damage. When Big PP Phainon mode ends, he just one big fat nuke and then goes back to normal. Then you just repeat the cycle of getting Big PP Phainon again. You find Phainon strong depends on one thing. Do you care about 0 cycling endgame content? Because if you do, Phainon might not be the best DPS for that. Phainon outputs a lot of damage, but he has one very big problem. In Big PP Phainon mode, Phainon gets kinda stuck. You can't make him go any faster with support. You can't do any extra damage with sub DPS because it's just Phainon. So if you're unable to finish off enemies with only Phainon, Phainon's clear time becomes much longer because you'll need to recharge Phainon's ult all over again. With very few skill points left from the first cycle, it becomes not only very skill point expensive, but incredibly scary for your team. Want to see his teams? You'll understand why. Phainon's best teams are sustainless. Yep, no heals, no shields. Why? Because your main goal is to get Phainon into Big PP Phainon Phainon mode as fast as possible. And in Big PP Phainon mode, your team takes no damage anyway. But that also means if Phainon's unable to finish enemies, all your allies will be at high risk of dying in between ultimates. You can split the kind of teammates he wants into two types. One, those that can give him core flames by pulling him forward, aka a core flame generator. Sunday is his best support because Sunday's ultimate also gives ult charge, which means Sunday ult gives Phainon 2 core flames. Bronya is basically his second best support since he can abuse her one-turn buff because if you apply it right before his ult, it lasts the entire Big PP Phainon mode. Tingyan is a great F2P option because your ult has the same property as Sunday's ult. You can also use RMC Sparkle and weirdly, Robin, who doesn't give Phainon core flames directly, but helps by advancing Phainon and another core flame generator. You want 2 core flame generators so Phainon can get his ult as soon as possible. For his last team slot, we can pick characters that provide relevant buffs like Cypher, Truby, Ranmei, and even Yuko. And if you really want to break heals, although highly not recommended, you can consider these characters. Here are some of his best teams for you to reference. We have the Premium Fast team, the Charmony Dove team, and the full F2P team. Okay, but how do we build Phainon? For his lightcone, his signature lightcone is super good for him. Surprise! Because it increases his base speed, the one thing that's actually able to make him go faster in Big PP Phainon mode. It's also the highest attack lightcone in the entire game. His F2P option would be S5 on the fall of an E. These are 2 other options if you can't use the F2P option. Phainon's best relic set is Wave Strider Captain, followed closely by Scholar in Lost Erudition. His best ball and rope set is Arcadia of Woven Dreams or Rutilant Arena. These are the main stats you want to be aiming for on each piece. Note that we want to prioritize crit rate on Phainon because he gains 30% crit damage and a lot of attack from his abilities. These are some rough stats you want to aim for endgame. For his speed, it's a bit finicky. Technically, his speed doesn't matter because his turns and his ultimate are not influenced by the speed gained from relics. However, to get his ultimate faster, you ideally want him to be 1 speed faster than the support, so he will act before them, allowing him to act 3 times in quick succession to get his ult as fast as possible. This means you want your slowest action forwarder to be at the breakpoint 134, your second action forwarder to be at 135, and Phainon at 136. But what about his Eidolons? They are disgustingly strong. E1 directly increases his speed in Big PP Phainon mode, allowing him to act more quickly. And the more enemies he kills, the faster he gets. It also gives him 50% more crit damage. It's about a 23% damage increase over E0. His E2 is insane. Not only do we get a base resistance penetration, every time he uses a 4-stack ult in Big PP Phainon mode, he gets an extra turn, a whopping 244% off E0. E4 increases the multipliers on his taunt, and E6 allows him to start with 6 core flames, which makes building his ult much easier, which allows you to use other teammates and can vastly increase your damage. Okay, but Eidolons are lightcone. Phainon's E2 is so strong, you want to prioritize E2 over his lightcone. But should you even pull Phainon? Let's look at my shitty rubric. Strength. Phainon is strong enough to clear the current endgame content, but has issues that we outlined earlier, so he gets a solid 2 for strength. Versatility. Phainon doesn't have a lot of different team options thanks to how much he needs action forwarders, so he gets a 1. F2P friendliness. Phainon himself is quite F2P friendly and can perform at E0 with a fully F2P lightcone. However, we can't say the same for his team, preferring some premium 5-star units, and will likely get a 5-star signature support that will solve a lot of his issues in the future, so be prepared that you might really have to pull for that, making him a 2 for F2P friendliness. For ease of use, he's actually super easy to play once in Big PP Phainon mode, so he gets a 1, giving him a grand total of 6.5 pull value out of 10. To be honest, Phainon doesn't look like the most meta DPS, and if you already have solid DPSs, you really don't need him. He does, however, look like the coolest DPS, so if you really like him and are prepared to invest in him and his teams, go ahead and pull him. Anyway, subscribe. Okay, bye.